Okay, it's recording now. Okay, so basically, this is just an open, office hours type situation that if you guys have any questions about anything, we can go over a few things. But a couple of the things that I just really wanted to make sure that we were clear on is the observations, because those are going to, probably be starting. And I did just email you guys a link to the Sign Up Geniuses. And this is something I'm trying for the first time. I've never done them this way before, but again, I have so many of you, I have to figure out some way to keep my sanity. So I'm going to share the screen real quickly with you guys, if it will let me. And okay, so you can see my screen now, right? So I've sent you the link for whether you're an intern 1 or intern 2. I just sent it all out in the same email. But just make sure that you're signing up for the correct version if you're a 1 or a 2. And then when you open it, you'll see I've tried to do a lot of explaining here in the, the directions area. Intern 1s, you need to have 2 observations done by me. 1 before our midpoint evaluation, and then 1 after. At least 1 must be done before the midpoint, ideally 1 before and 1 after. I would prefer to do them via Zoom or to have you record a lesson and then email it to me. Partly due to, COVID and all of the, chances of being, spreading and things like that if I'm going to too many schools, because I have interns at 13 schools this semester, so that's a lot of going in and out, and I don't want to be the one who brings it from one school to another. So for my intern 1s, I'm going to try to do everything remotely, unless if you're having issues or concerns or whatever and you really want me to come in person, then I will, but just contact me directly and as soon as possible if that's the case. Zooms could be done live. Just set up the computer at the back of the classroom, make sure that you have that permission slip signed by the parents in case the kids are on the screen at all. But really the camera should just be facing you, and I could, see some of the kids or the backs of their heads, but really I need to see you and, how you're interacting with the kids and how well you're implementing your lesson plan. If you record the lesson, that's okay too. And sometimes that's a little bit easier for me because then you can just email it to me and we don't have to have a set time for me to, to be observing you. You can do your lesson at any point during the day, email it to me, and then I can watch it at any point. So that is also, a good way to do it. And either way, no matter which option you choose, still before I see the observation, before I see the lesson, you have to have uploaded your lesson plan to VIA. So don't ask me to watch any observations until VIA is up and going. It will just save us a step. Your supervising teachers, they're there with you. You can hand them a hard copy of your lesson plan, and then they can do, use the PDF version that I sent you to, write on and then upload to VIA later. But for me, I'm just asking just to hold off until VIA is functional for my observations. Also, besides uploading lessons to VIA at least 24 hours in advance, I will look over those lesson plans, and if I have any questions, I may call you or email you or ask you to add something to it or to clarify something. So that's why I need that 24 hours notice. And also, even if we're Zooming or if you're emailing me, there will be a time that I would like to at least talk on the phone to kind of go over what I saw and to go over, how the lesson went and what your thoughts on the lesson were as well. Faith, you have a question?
If we're doing a recorded, just recorded and emailed to you Zoom for the for your observation, not just the teacher observations. Mm-hmm. If we did a lesson before VIA was up and running as your first, would you be able to record it, have everything filled out, and then have the teacher and us upload everything to VIA when it's working? or do you want us to wait until VIA is working for both?
I would really, for mine, the supervising teacher, they can go ahead and do that. For me, I would rather you wait for both because I want to look over your lesson plan before you teach that lesson.
Okay. And then
Okay.
also, does the lesson plan need to be submitted for both the teacher observation and for your observation?
Yes, but not to me though. For the supervising, you'll see, I wish VIA was up that I could show you how it looks. But when you see in VIA, there will be different drop boxes for, it'll say CC observation 1, CC observation 2, CC observation 3, ST observation 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then there will be midpoint evaluation and final evaluation. So when you are getting ready to do an observation with your supervising teacher, you upload the lesson to that Dropbox. So ST number 1. I'm not going to look at those lesson plans. That's for your supervising teacher to look at. But the issue is that the supervising teacher or me, we can't access the rubric until you've started that workflow. So until you upload a lesson plan, we don't have access to our part of that Dropbox, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm saying for you, with your supervising teachers right now, you're in the classroom with them, you can hand them a hard copy of the lesson plan. I assume they're going to go over it with you, before you implement it, because that's how you're working together, or should be how you're working together. The 24-hour piece is more for me, so that I know what I'm going to be seeing, and also if there are a few things that maybe I want to see that maybe isn't in there, or I just want to make sure, not so much the first time, but the second and third observation. If I'm not sure you guys are, at a 3 in a certain FEEP, I might ask you to add something to that lesson so that I can really see you show me what you can do, kind of a thing. Make sense? Okay, Brenna, looks like you've got a question.
So I was wondering, what do we do with the permission slips we got back from the kids?
Just hang on to them.
Oh, just hang on to them? Okay.
Just hang on to them. It's just, just to cover yourself if something pops up. So I would just say you hang on to them.
Okay, and then one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it says that we're supposed to start writing lesson plans like every day, but when should we start doing that? When we full on teach?
Yes, and that's between you and your supervising teacher.
Okay.
And as far as full on lesson plans go, like that sample template that I sent you at the beginning of the semester, you only need to do those for the lessons that I observe. There is no way you are lead teaching for 2 or 3 weeks that you are going to be writing one of those for every lesson you teach. You're just not. It's never going to happen. So whatever your supervising teacher does, that's what you do. So if they use planbook.com, if they write in a paper and pencil plan book, if they write down what the standard is and just a couple jotted notes about what the lesson is, however he or she does it, you just follow their suit. Okay,
Thank you.
But the lessons that go in VIA, so the ones that you're being formally observed on, those should be the full long form.
Okay.
Even for your supervising teacher, because they're UCF requirements.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so hang on, before I answer any more specific questions, let me just finish talking about the Sign Up Genius part of it. So Intern 1 and Intern 2 Sign Up Geniuses look pretty much the same. And all I'm asking is that when you're ready, and you don't have to do all 2 or all 3 of them right now, just as you're ready, go ahead and sign up for them. But if you could please just kind of pay attention to see if other people have signed up at the same time, so that I don't have 3 people, wanting me to Zoom in at the same time. And then as I get them, I will confirm my schedule to see if I am indeed available to do it. And if I'm not, I'll reach out to you and ask to reschedule, or ask you to record and email it to me. But in the comment section, just kind of write your comments similar to what I have here as examples. So Monday, February 8th from 10 to 10:30, it'll be an ELA lesson via live Zoom. So that way I know, okay, I have to be on the computer at that time. versus you writing down Tuesday, March 30th, math lesson, recorded and emailed. I don't need to know the time because you're just going to email that to me. But I know to pay attention on March 30th or the 31st that I'll be getting an email from you. Okay, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then when you're ready, I've put everybody's names here and the number of slots. All my intern twos have 2 slots, or intern ones have 2 slots except Kirsten, because she goes to the Peds Academy second semester or second half of the semester. So, you know, so that'll be a different situation. And I do, let me pull up, oh, shoot. Let me pull up my intern two, since that's most of you here, and see a couple of you if you've done it. So who is it? Oh, Autumn, you said. Okay, so yeah, I'll have to make sure that I can let you delete or change the signups for. So this is the one that you want, February 16th.
Yeah, it's the very bottom.
Okay, all right. So it should let you do it, but if not, I'll go in and delete that for you. I'll have to check. Maybe I have the settings set up wrong for that. So yeah, I mean, and you don't have, like Heidi, you've put in 1, and Brenna's got 1, and that's great. Do that, and then we'll see what, you know, when to do the next one. You don't have to sign up for all 3 at one time. And then, like I said, once I get a couple of these, I'll look at my calendar and see if I can fit everybody in, or if I need to ask somebody to change times because of, you know, other conflicts that I might have. But yeah, so this is pretty much how I'm going to try to do it this semester, just to kind of, I think it'll just be easier than texting back and forth and then I lose a text, or, you know, somebody changes things. At least I'll have it all in one place and you can see kind of more of my availability. Okay, so that's about the observations. Does that part make sense? I know I had a lot of questions about how many observations and then the format of them. Are we good? Any other questions?
I have a question. Can our supervising teacher evaluate or observe one of the ones we're emailing to you, or that you're zooming in on?
Yep, and actually,
how would that work in VIA? Do we have to have a separate lesson?
You'll just upload that same lesson plan into, let's say it's my first observation, so you'll go to CC number 1, upload that lesson plan there, and then maybe it's your second supervising teacher lesson. You'll just go to ST number 2 and upload that same lesson. Yeah, you don't have to do a separate lesson plan, just upload the same one into 2 places.
Okay, and are they allowed to be similar, or a couple of them, not all of them, maybe the one for the teacher work sample for Dr.
Yes, yes, I actually recommend at least one observation for intern 2s, having both of us, having me and your supervising teacher observe, because sometimes I'm noticing things that somebody else isn't, or vice versa, or it's, you know, maybe it's your third observation with me and there's one, like I said, there's one FEEP I just haven't seen before, or it's something that's on your PDP plan and I want to make sure that you're addressing it. So I might be laser focused in on this one target goal, whereas your supervising teacher might be looking at something else. So you'll get, it's good to get feedback from 2 different people. You've got 2 sets of eyes looking at you then.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was like, you know, getting out of too much work or something. like, are we cheating? Are we double dipping?
No, you can absolutely do that. And then also, I definitely would recommend one of the observations by me, if possible, be one from your teacher work sample. I just think it will, you know, help you out when you're, as you're evaluating, to have some.
You're leaving it?
Okay. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
And then also, just on the note of the PDP plans, there's still a couple people that I haven't gotten them from yet. So if you have not yet had it sent to me via HelloSign, it looks like I'm still waiting on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 intern 2s to send me those, to get those signed off on. That would be good if you could get those to me as soon as possible.
So the VIA is not up yet?
VIA is still not up because Dr. Smith, who populates it, can't do anything until everybody submitted their placement survey, and those were just due Friday. So he was going to start populating that Monday with the goal of having it all up and ready to go by the 1st. So what is that?
Next Monday.
So Monday, yeah. So I just checked it earlier tonight because I was gonna screen share it with you to show you, but it's still not up. So just everybody hang tight on that. But like I said, you've got the PDF version of the observation form. So if your supervising teacher wants to do, you want to do an observation this week, by all means, go ahead. They'll just have to do it on paper, and then they can go into VIA when they're able to, and just click, 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 click based on what they wrote on their paper. And to be honest, a lot of supervising teachers, and even I do, I like to use the paper version first anyways. I just feel like I can see it on 1 or 2 pages versus scrolling up and down, and then I tend to write faster than I type too. So they could do that every time. And sometimes it's just more convenient to sit there with a clipboard than a computer too. So that's why I send you all the forms, and I've also sent them to the supervising teachers. Okay?
So as far as it goes for the observation forms, where those are coming in via later then, right?
Yes, so they will look, just like a digitized version of that PDF that I sent you in that very first email. But it'll just be in VIA. The wording will be the same. The 4321 rubric terms will be the same. Nothing will be different there.
So they could use that one, that big long page thing where it's got like a little thing on the top.
Yep.
That one?
Yep. Yeah, if I can show it to you. Hang on, let me open it here.
It says rubric, but it's actually the form, right?
Yeah, are you guys still seeing my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay. And let me pull it up here. Evaluate observation form. It's this one.
We can't see what you're showing
Oh, you
now.
can't see this one? Oh, shoot. Okay, hang on a minute. New share. Okay, can you see this now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the one to use for observations. So I've sent this to you, I've sent this to your supervising teacher. So it's just going to be a digitized version of this, but it will say the exact same thing, 4321 rating scale, and it tells you what, 4s exceeds expectations, and there must be a comment required. So if you do a stellar job in one of these sections, that's great, but there has to be some sort of comment written next to it. It's especially important in the midpoint and final evaluation, but also on these as well. And also, you may not get scores in all of these categories in every lesson that's observed. There are a lot of things, especially for me, I'm not going to be able to see in a 30-minute lesson. How you communicate with the home, how you're using data-informed research to improve instruction. A lot more of that is going to come from your supervising teacher. So for me, I might just put NA or not score it at all. Your supervising teacher might put NA. Some of these, I don't know, there might be 1 or 2 where, used assistive technologies that encourage student participation. You're not going to do that all the time. You might not have a student near.
I found that me not keeping everything in my room, like,
Glover is not.
it helps me sleep better. Also, myself.
Charlene.
Oh shit.
Charlene.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, hello.
I'm gonna mute everybody just for a second because there's some background noise there. So don't worry about getting every last one of these feet scored in each individual lesson observation. We do have to score them all in the evaluation, but not in each specific lesson, because you have to realize these forms, observations are a snippet. It's like, I'm watching this 30-minute period of time. What do I see in 30 minutes? The evaluations are those observations plus whatever else your supervising teacher is seeing you do on a daily basis. That's the big picture. This is the snapshot.
I think this one is for our teaching, but our midpoint and our final evaluations are a separate form, correct? And that's what we don't have. That's what I've been saying wrong?
I don't know if I sent that one to you or not, but you guys as intern twos, it's the same one that we did last semester.
Awesome. That's the example I gave her. Thank you. Okay.
Actually, no, I take that back. You guys didn't do that one last semester. My intern twos did. No, yours is different. Let me pull that one up.
Can I ask a couple questions while you're doing that?
Sure. Yep.
Okay. So Adriana Prado and I are at the same school in the same grade level. So we were talking today about possibly doing our in-person on the same day since you'll be there anyways.
If you could do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I would adore that. Make it so much easier.
And then, okay, so we do a lot with like iReady lessons and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So could I like take that and then just add the stuff that I need for the UCF lesson plan and then just do that as one of my lessons?
Mm-hmm. That is absolutely
okay.
Quite often just what has to happen. You don't have to recreate the wheel, okay? Reinvent the wheel, whatever that saying is.
So like if it's something that my ST already planned, like, and then I just add all of the stuff that I need to, that's fine?
Yes. The only time and even it's still kind of fine, but you just have to do some things on your own, is for your teacher work sample.
Okay.
Sample needs to be a unit that's truly developed by you. You might use some of the resources that your supervising teacher has, but like you have to create the assessments. They cannot be assessments from iReady or a textbook or anything like that. For the teacher work sample. For any other lesson, by all means, use what you have.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, back to Jennifer's question about the midpoint evaluation and the final evaluation. This is a 13-page document, so if I didn't send it to you, that's why. But it will look just like this on VIA. All of the FEEPs that you saw on the observation form are here. It's the exact same basic rubric in a way. It's just kind of formatted differently. And so, like, for example, for number 1, prepares lesson plans aligned to Florida adopted standards. That's exactly what that first box on the observation form says. This just gives a little bit more information about what would be a 3, what would be a 2, you know, and if your standards don't match the lesson at all, that would be a 1. However, what you need to be aware of with 4s, a lot of supervising teachers are like, oh, she's the best intern I've ever had, or they're doing so much better than my last intern. That's not enough to give a 4. You have to have some evidence to support that. You know what I mean? So, and to go above and beyond. So, design, like this one, designs lessons that include assessments in order for all learners to achieve mastery. Great, every lesson needs to. So how are you going to get to be a 4? Well, you've created, you know, you've designed the assessment. It's not one from iReady. Or you have a pre-test and an exit slip, and you're doing check-ins throughout the lesson. If I'm seeing multiple assessments going on, that might get you to a 4. But I have to be able to say in my observation notes or on my evaluation form here, what it is that makes you above and beyond in that category. Okay, so just like, you know, I wrote in this, all the notes and everything that I emailed you with all the dates and everything, realize intern 1, you guys are going to be living mostly in the 2 section on here. Okay, this is where you guys are expected to be by the end of your first internship. Intern 2s, you should be living in the 3 category. You might have a 4 here and there. Intern 1s might have some 3s. Intern ones maybe even have a 4 somewhere along the road, but we just have to have some sort of evidence to support it. So that if someone says, what are they doing to go above and beyond? I can say X, Y, and Z, or your supervising teacher can say X, Y, and Z, okay? And then intern ones especially, but also 2s. Intern 2s, you may still have a couple 2s at the midpoint, and that's okay. You're still learning, you're still a developing professional. Intern 1s, you're, like I said, you're gonna be living in this 2 area for the most part. And this word inconsistently, can we all look at that and in our heads just cross it out and make that occasionally? Because inconsistently sounds negative, and it's not a negative, it shouldn't be negative. It should be you're working on it. Occasionally, you're doing these things because you are new to it. You're not going to do everything perfectly right away. And intern 1s don't have the opportunity to do things down a couple that says daily does something. You're not there daily. So you aren't going to be able to do like 2F here, consistently daily creates a risk-free supportive environment. You're not there daily. You're there 2 days a week. So occasionally would be more appropriate for an intern 1. So that's why we say, it's not A, B, C, D, it's a continuum. It's, you're a beginning reader and you're working your way up to fluency. You're a beginning teacher, you're working your way up to fluency. So please don't think of these as letter grades. 4s should be very rare, okay? And once you get access to VIA, I do recommend you click around in it and kind of look at what everything looks like. Because when it comes time for our midpoint evaluation, you will be completing one of these as a self-evaluation as well. So how these work is there will be, there is for your supervising teacher, they will see a midpoint and a final evaluation Dropbox, or Dropbox, I guess is probably the best term. So he or she will go in and do your evaluation on this without you. They'll just do it on their own. You will have a spot that says self-evaluation. You will go ahead and score yourself on the exact same tool. Then, after you've done yours and your supervising teacher has done his or hers, then we meet for our meeting and we'll Zoom together. So it could be, you're at home, he or she's in the classroom and I'm at home, or you two can be together at school and I'll be at home. But then we discuss, what did you rank yourself? What did your supervising teacher rate yourself? And so the one that we do together is the official one, but we can't do the official one until you and your supervising teacher have done yours, because then we kind of come to a consensus. And so usually I'll be like, okay, FEEP 2A, you both scored a 3, great, 3, let's move on. And we can go through it a lot quicker that way. If you've scored yourself a 3 and your supervising teacher scored you a 2, then we will stop and talk about it. Because sometimes I have to clarify what a 2 really is or what a 3 really is for both of you. So that's why we kind of have a 30-minute conversation to make sure that we're all comfortable with where you are in your development. I know I'm talking a lot at you, and a lot of these questions are probably going to come up again, and that's okay. We're recording this so you can rewatch it, and all of this also is in these notes. So, and they're also explained in the Sign Up Genius forms too. Okay, so on that note, I'm gonna pull back to screen sharing the Sign Up Genius because I just want to show you the midpoint evaluation one.
Can I ask a question while you're doing that?
Right ahead.
Do the observations have to be different subjects, or can it all be the same subject?
I prefer at least 2 subjects. You could do 2 ELA and 1 math, but I do like to generally see 1 ELA and 1 math. Okay. The third one could be science, social studies. It could be another math. And I also recommend that to the supervising teachers. However, I do know that some of you are departmentalized. And if you're in a 6th grade classroom that only teaches math, then I'll probably only see math. However, in that situation, I do sometimes recommend that you work with the partner teacher and at least see how ELA is taught if you're only teaching math, just so that you've got a broader range of experience.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So midpoint evaluations, I'm going to open this Sign Up Genius just so you can see. Like I said, everything that I just said, I've also typed up here for you. Midpoint evaluations will be done via Zoom. You and your ST must be available at the same time without students present. It's like we can't have kids around because we're going to be talking. You will each need to complete the midpoint evaluation in VIA before we meet. Okay? And then again, those reminders, remember that intern 2s must have 3s by the end of the semester, but some 2s are okay at midpoint. Intern 1s must have all 2s by the end of the semester. Think of that word inconsistently as occasionally. And then any FEEP scored a 4 or a 1 must have supporting evidence noted in the comment section. For these, I did set aside certain days and times. So you'll see actual days and time slots that you'll sign up for. So I think, Jennifer, you were the one who already gave me that. I put your name in there. So you don't have to worry about it. I went ahead and filled you in for this one. And I think, oh, Heidi, you did too. You gave me yours. So I went ahead and blocked your times that you had asked for. Okay. So everybody else can just, go in and sign up when you're ready. Okay? And I've tried to make it where there's a couple mornings and a couple afternoons, and I think I've got 2 days where I will just be sitting in this same spot for 8 straight hours if I need to meet with everybody. And we are going to try to keep them to half an hour. Sometimes they, tend to go long. So as long as you guys are ready to go right away. And I know, like Heidi, I think you said 10:35, but I've 10:30. That's fine. Well, that's fine. We can actually I can write a comment here that it's actually 10:35, just so that I remember. Okay. All right, so any questions at this point?
You said one ELA, so like a 90-minute ELA block? I know that's concerning for me.
No. I don't want to watch 90 minutes. So if you are doing a 90-minute ELA block, have me zoom in for the guided reading section of it. You know what I mean? Have me zoom in.
Like opening?
Yeah, the opening. I can do small groups. If you are in a class that does centers, if you are leading, you're doing rotations, I just need to see one rotation. Maybe if it's a quick rotation, maybe I'll stay for a second one. But try to keep the lessons to 30 to 45 minutes. Again, I have 30 of you, so that's that's a lot of time.
It was great. Thank you.
So, okay, I know, let me get to the chat box here. I see 2 questions. If our ST is comfortable with the 4, 3, 2, 1, can we use that for our mid and final? Jen, what do you mean by that?
I think that was Jonathan.
Yeah, that was me. So what I meant by that was the rubric that you had was massive and like a lot of printout. So I was just wondering that if our ST, because my ST used to be an assistant principal, if they're comfortable with using the original observation, which is the 4, 3, 2, 1, can we just use that instead? Because you did. I'm sorry.
4, 3, 2, 1. It just shows it on the rubric with more explanation. So that's going to be in VIA. You don't need to print off that 13-page document. Now that's all in VIA. So I just sent it to you so you could see it. But once VIA is up and running, that's where they'll do it. And it's literally like you'll just go, okay, click this box, click this box, click this box.
Oh, okay. All right.
So yeah, I do know you are at Challenger 7, right?
Yes, I am.
And with Mrs. Farner, is it?
This was Miss Farner.
Farner. Okay, so I have had an intern with another teacher there that I can't remember her name. Actually, Miss Norman.
It was Ms. Norman originally. That's who I
Right.
had last
And
semester, and then we switched. She's
she
online.
you before. So if Mrs. Farner is confused or whatever, or you're confused, if Miss Norman's still in the building, she has done this before. So, you know, so she could kind of talk you through it if you get
No,
confused.
Ms. Norman's not there anymore.
Oh, she's not there at all. Okay. Well, once
She
you
left to go to BVS, or not BVS, FLVS.
Oh, okay. Well, once you see it in VIA, it will make more sense. That's why I was really hoping VIA would be up and functional so that I could show it to you. But as soon as VIA is up and running, you'll be able to see it. It's literally just click, 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 click.
Okay, all right.
They are all the 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Okay, and Autumn, so apparently I did send you the big version. I wasn't sure if I did or not. So you've got it paper, you've got it electronically in VIA as soon as VIA is functional, but VIA is where it has to be. Okay.
I was going to ask if it's okay if our teachers have the hard copies right now and they just scan it and upload it whenever it's open.
You can't scan and upload because it's not like that. It's what do you call it? Like a dynamic thing where you have to actually click in the program. It's not just a scan type thing. They can fill it out, but they're not going to fill that out yet anyways because it's nowhere near midpoint.
Oh, I was just talking about the observation forms of our lessons.
Okay, well, same with the observation. It's not a scan and upload. It'll take 5 minutes. You know, they'll just click through, okay, 4, you know, whatever it is, or 3. It won't take them more than 5 minutes to transfer it from paper to the form on VIA. But it's not something that they can scan and upload. They will have to actually go into VIA and do it electronically there.
Okay.
Again, once VIA is accessible, it will make a lot more sense. Once you get, you know, you can get in there and play around with it a little bit. Okay. Okay, so those are my big things. I wanted to make sure we were good about observations, we were good about midpoint evaluations, and we were good about using the Sign Up Geniuses to schedule them. Any questions about those 3 things?
Yes.
Okay, Brenna.
So for the evaluation sheets, we only have to do those for midpoint and final, right?
Correct.
Okay, all right, that was my question.
Correct. And then the other thing I already mentioned was the professional development plan, the goals for my intern 2s. I'm still waiting on some of those for signatures. So I don't think it's anybody who's actually on here right now either. So if you could spread the word, you know, ask at Capstone, or if you have, like, I know Heidi had said there's a group chat going around. If you want to just remind people that I need their PDP plans. And also you should be checking it in web courses to make sure that you have everything uploaded that needs to be uploaded, like the data sheet, I think everybody's placement is in there. I think there's like something first day, something or another it's called. Here it is. Internship quiz, first day report, placement confirmation survey, data sheet. And then that's also where your ESOL performance profile is up there, but that obviously isn't due until the end of the semester. But the first 4 things, you should have 4 things already uploaded into web courses. And most of you do, but a couple of you are missing a few things. So if you could work on getting those done, web courses is actually functional. So take advantage of that before you have to start dealing with VIA.
Also, for the midpoint evaluation, I was looking at the Sign Up Genius and I see Heidi. I have to go back now. Heidi is at 10:30 to 11 and I'm at the same school she is. I mean, I could do 9:30. Would that be okay? Even though, I mean, or I could do 10.
It doesn't
10
matter.
to study, but that's reading groups.
It doesn't matter to me with the midpoint evaluations because they're all on Zoom. I'm not coming to the school for those. So
okay.
that's why it's kind of convenient because I will literally just log off with you and then log on with somebody else and they might be in the other part of the county. So
Okay, I was wondering how you were going to get there so fast.
yeah, no. Like I said, I will just be sitting in this exact same chair for 4 hours or 8 hours those days, however long it takes, to get through everybody. We did it that way last semester for the first time, and honestly, it makes so much more sense. And all the coordinators are doing that. We are not doing any face-to-face evaluations because it's a waste of time for me to drive back and forth, to be honest, for what they are. The observations, we do like to be able to go in, but the evaluation meetings, it's just a meeting. So you have to make sure that your students are not in the classroom when you do it. So it should be before school, after school, at lunch, during an activity period. And if none of those times that I have out there work, let me know and I'll work with you and we can do, something earlier or later if we need to.
Okay, do I just email you that?
Just put it on the sign up Genius if there's a time that works. But if they don't work, then reach out to me and we'll figure something out.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
And you don't even have to worry about doing that yet. Midpoints aren't until, February 22nd, I think is February 22nd through March 5th. So we have a month before we need to worry about those. So, you don't have to sign up for those right now.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, go for it.
Okay. I'm still confused on this. I know it's been asked many times during our capstone and whatever. I don't have an ESOL student in my class.
Okay.
But there are a few in the 3rd grade, but one of them is in Adriana's class. So Miss Anderson already told me that I could come work with her for however many minutes or whatever. But I just wanted to clarify exactly what I need to do and like how many minutes and stuff, just so like I get what I need.
I had the same question.
Okay.
Like still confused about it, and I'm like,
let me see if I can pull up the ESOL sheet.
I just don't have one in my grade. They're in 1st grade, but our times work out.
we have like less than 1% ESOL at my school, so.
We have had interns have to go to different schools for it. So it's a state requirement. It's not a UCF trying to make your life difficult requirement. So it is now a state requirement, which honestly is a good thing.
Because we don't have to do it after we have jobs.
Right, exactly. Like for me, I would be stuck because I was not ESOL certified. You didn't have to where I got certified. So for me, if I wanted to ever teach in a public school here in Florida, I would have to go back and figure out a way to get all of those hours in. So you guys are actually lucky that you have to do it and that they're allowing you to do it during your internship. Okay, I'm going to share the screen again here. This is the performance profile. This is what you need to have completed. So it says, candidates must satisfactorily complete a minimum of 2 weeks full-time in a classroom that includes 1 or more EL students, supervised by an endorsed or certified cooperating teacher. It ends up being 60 hours, I believe is what 2 full weeks equates to. I'm trying to see if it says it down here. I will double check that, but I am 95% sure that they consider that 2 weeks is the same as 60 hours. So what has happened in some cases is there is an hour a day that you would go to that other classroom, the last hour of every day, and you're going to work with that ESOL student, for 60 days, if that's what it is, or 2 hours a day. Or after you do everything that you need to do to meet the requirements for your internship. The last 2 weeks of internship, when usually you're kind of pulling back and you're kind of going more back into the support role, and your supervising teacher is taking over more of the day-to-day duties, you can then go spend those 2 weeks in another classroom. That's what many interns choose to do, just so they're not splitting their time. Now, normally that works smoothly. Last year when we had to shut down schools in March, that ended up being a nightmare trying to get the ESOL hours in for our interns. So, you know, I don't see schools closing again like they did before. So I would say you're probably safe if you want to wait until the end of your internship and do it then. But if you know that there's a student in the classroom next door, make, you know, whatever time of day, talk to that supervising teacher and see, you know, when would be the best time that maybe you could come in an afternoon here or there, whatever it is, just document your time. And then that other teacher would be the one who would initial all of these boxes for you.
Okay, and where do we document our time?
It doesn't ask to document it on here, but for me, because I am always wanting to cover myself in case I'm ever asked, just get a piece of paper, do a note in your phone, whatever works for you, just so that you know, since you're going into a different classroom.
And then do we have to have like documentation of exactly like what we did with the student each day, or is it kind of just like a support thing in the class?
Well, there used to be a TESOL notebook that was required. Yes, here it is, verification of satisfactory completion of the TESOL notebook. Okay, yeah, this is 2016 or prior. So yeah, I think that is gone now. Okay. So from my experience in the last 2 semesters, the only thing that has been required is this signed off.
Okay.
Okay.
Or it's saying that it needs to be a certified teacher or whatever.
Yes.
If they're certified to be a supervising teacher, that counts, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Even if they're not certified to be a supervising teacher through UCF, you would have your cooperating teacher sign here. The ESOL resource teacher, we would consider that person. Even though they're not a specialist, they're not like an interventionist, I would just have your cooperating teacher sign if they're certified to be a supervising teacher and the ESOL classroom teacher isn't.
Okay. And so basically it just has to be, just so I got this right, that sheet that you're showing on the screen just has to be filled out and that's it, just to cover ourselves, keeping a time log just in case it gets asked.
From what I'm aware of, you may want to just confirm it with Dr. Dan. But from what I've been told the last 2 semesters when I've been having to try to help interns get those hours in, this is all that they've turned into me.
Do we have access to this?
To this, yes, it's in web courses.
Okay.
Yep, it's one of the documents in web courses. Oh, and was that Jen that Jen asked that too?
I had the same question, so I just said it out loud.
Okay, all right. So John, you don't have an ESOL student anywhere in your school?
No, I just got the demographics report yesterday and I reviewed through it, and there's not a single ESOL student. However, there is a student who was ESOL last year, but he exited the program in 5th grade, and he's in 6th grade now, and he's now an ESE student, but he's no longer considered ESOL.
Okay, then that would not count. So you and I probably need to have an offline chat about that, because there are 2 ways that we can go about that. One is you could go to a different school, but there's also a way that you can do it through UCF's Teach Live program. So let's put a pin in that for right now and not worry about it at this minute, but I'm gonna write myself a note that we do need to revisit that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not doing this one HelloSign then? I'm just
Yeah, this one will also be hello sign by me, for me.
just you or just you then, right?
Yeah, because your supervising teacher is there. You know, unless you're teaching remotely, you'll be able to get those signatures. It's just me. You can't, unless you're done during that one lesson that I observe, you can bring it. Otherwise, use hello sign. And yeah, Dr. Dan does not need to sign this one. It's just your supervising teacher and me and you. Okay. All right, so that is ESOL. That is web courses. That is VIA. All right, that's all that I have other than probably should have started out this way with, how's it going? Are you guys settling in? You're getting to know the kids? You've got a good relationship with the supervising teacher? Any concerns that, you know, that you have or questions? Jordan?
I have one concern. So I was there the first week, and now this whole week, and then possibly all of next week as well, my teacher is quarantined.
Okay.
So we've been kind of going with subs all week. So I don't know how to we haven't really been with my teacher enough to be able to do these evaluations and observations and stuff like that. So I'm just really concerned that I might be a little behind when it comes to midpoint, just because I'm not going to be with my teacher for 2 weeks.
Well, that, you know, it is what it is. Unfortunately, we're going to have to make, you know, accommodations and exceptions due to COVID. Now, is it a long-term sub that's with you, the same person, or it's like a different person every day?
It was a different person Monday. It's been a different person. It's been the same for yesterday and today. And I think the next 2 days, they don't even know if there's a sub. So I might get a principal. I might get the assistant principal.
Oh,
that's just how it's been at Anderson the last 2 semesters. So
yeah, but just make sure there is someone, that it's not just you. Remember, you're not allowed to sub. And that's our county liability thing. So I just need to remind everybody that I know there's a sub shortage. You are not to be used as a substitute. You can do all the teaching, because sometimes you know what's going on a lot better, and it's just easier for you to teach. And that sub is sitting at the desk grading papers or filing or whatever. But there has to be a paid substitute in the classroom, or a principal, or, you know, something else, some other hired person, because of liability situation. Now, I will say that does concern me though about your teacher. And my question is, he or she is not just teaching from home while in quarantine? They're actually too sick?
well, she's quarantined, but from what I was told by the principal today, actually, was that she's going to try to teach from home, but she's not a person that's well with technology. So we're going to try to help her figure that out so that she's able to be from home teaching.
Okay.
But
that is what most of the Brevard teachers are expected to do when they're quarantined. Like my daughter has a teacher right now who's teaching from home, and there is a sub just basically managing behavior. And if that's the case, then you could be, you know, planning together on the phone and still getting some of the experience, because I'm more concerned about you just not having enough modeling and coaching if she's going to be out for so long.
she might be back Thursday or Friday next week, but again, like, I'm not 100% sure what the situation with it is, if she needs to go get tested to make sure she's okay. And yeah, but that's just what I've been dealing with this week.
Yeah. Okay. And you are at Anderson, and that is with
Levels.
Okay. And
She was great the 3 days I met her. So, I mean, I wish she was there. She was good, but.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know that you were with Mr. Joyce last semester, and his intern that he was going to have fell through.
Oh,
no. we're, at least as far as I'm aware of, the intern decided not to do the internship this semester. So I would say, I mean, we can, depending on how you feel about it, letting it roll. And then if you're feeling like you are not getting what you need out of this internship, we could see if maybe Mr. Joyce would be willing to have you as an intern too, if you want to go back to 6th grade, which I got the vibe you didn't.
I mean, I don't like the content because I feel like it's too high for what I want to teach, but I absolutely love the kids, and Mr. Joyce was a great ST person. So, I mean, I still see them around school, and they say, "Hi, Miss Phillips," all the time because they miss me. So, but I mean, if it comes down to it, I'll suck it up, but
it's just not as broad of a range of experiences. Well, do me a favor, when you find out more, would you let me know? And then maybe give me a call tomorrow's Thursday, give me a call Friday, and we can kind of talk about what will be best for you.
Okay.
Okay? All right, and I'm gonna write your name down too, that I need to follow up with you.
Okay.
All right.
Just wanted to let you know.
No, well, and that's good. And, you know, and the thing is that we want you guys to have the best experience that you're going to have. And we want you to have the mentoring and the coaching that you need and you deserve. And if you are just there as a, you know, implementing sub-plans, you're not getting what you need and what you're paying for out of this internship. So we want to make sure that, you know, my job is to make sure that you guys are prepared when you're done. And, you know, if I have to work, you know, liaison between, you know, the schools, and I've had to do that where supervising teachers were not letting interns do enough. I've had to intervene when supervising teachers were expecting too much. So that's my job, is to kind of keep everything calm and do what's best for you. Okay. All right. Somebody else had a hand up. Katie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so my teacher is also quarantined until she gets a negative COVID result.
Okay.
And I don't want to get anybody in trouble, and I don't want to get in trouble, but nobody picked up the sub request. So then I was Miss Gel for today. So should I just like tell the secretary, like, hey, like, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want you guys to get in trouble. Can like admin or something, because we don't have really any admin right now either. Okay, I'm like word vomiting right now. So should I just like ask for someone to be in there with me?
Yes, I mean, if you feel comfortable doing it, you should. If you don't feel comfortable, I will, because it's Brevard County's rule. If something happens to a student, if somebody trips and falls and has stitches, whatever, if anything happens, Brevard County is big time liable, because they do not have a person who is legally responsible for that class. You guys are not legally responsible for those classes. You are a student as much as those students are. Okay. And so by your principal or secretary allowing that to go uncovered, it is the same as if there were no adult in the room, as far as the law is concerned. And that is not UCF's policy. I mean, it is, but it's a bigger deal for Brevard County. So I have had to make the call to the principal before to say, listen, you know what, I get it, emergencies happen. We don't have enough subs, we get it. However, you know, we can't have it. One time, two semesters ago, I think it was spring of 19, I ended up coming in to sub with one of my interns, because I am a Brevard County sub. I just don't ever sub anymore, but I'm in their system. And it was that sort of thing. And I said, you know what, I'll come, because they were trying to, you know, scramble around. And it was great. I mean, I ended up, you know, being able to spend the whole day with my intern. She taught everything, and I really knew she had it together. But, you know, obviously kind of awkward for her to watch all day. But, you know, that's the sort of thing that, you know, I've kind of pulled back from doing any subbing. But in a case like that, you could let your, you know, supervising teacher or the school know that if they're in a desperate need for it, let me know. You know, I can probably make that happen, just so they're covered, you're covered. But if you don't feel comfortable mentioning it, or maybe just say, hey, I was on this meeting last night, this was brought up, and see what happens. They should be then reminded because they should know. And if it happens, then call me.
So then, like, theoretically, if like nobody can come in there with me, you just want me to call you?
If they say, I'm sorry, there is nobody, call me and I will call the school because there is somebody. There is a learning specialist, there's an interventionist, there is an assistant principal, trust me. And when I was teaching, we have had it where teachers have had to give up their hour of planning time during activity to go cover a classroom. So one classroom might have had 6 teachers, a different teacher every hour. Is it ideal? Absolutely not. However, legally it's what has to happen. And like I said, in a drastic scenario, I can come in and be the sub that day if they need it.
Okay.
I don't really like advertising myself to do that, but I've done it before. So, but just say that, hey, this came up and it's funny that this happened today where I was the sub, because also you're not getting paid. Okay, so that school also just saved themselves
They're getting quality work for free. Like,
well, we all know you're going to be better than a sub, but the school also can take advantage of that if we allow them to. And so we're not in the market to sell you out as free labor. Okay, so we got, again, my job is to make sure the school's doing what they're supposed to be doing, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing to get the best experience for you.
I was going to say I was asked to sub for 4th grade today as I was walking in, and I said, unfortunately, I have to decline because I have a liability if something happens. So
your UCF field coordinator says you are not allowed to substitute.
Yeah, and I actually emailed the assistant principal because she was the one asking, and I was like, I sent her the form where it says in bold, the yellow, no substituting. So I sent it to her, and she was like, oh, okay, I see it now. I was like, yes, I can do it.
It's highlighted, and that's why it's bolded, because we've had this issue in the past. So that's something else you can do, Katie. You can say, right here, on this paper, it's in bold. Right here, it's highlighted. Okay?
Okay.
So now, Angie, for you, if you are asked to sub on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you are in the Brevard County system, you are only interning on Mondays, Tuesdays, you can sub in a different classroom, preferably at a different school, on a day that is not your internship day, as long as you are in the Brevard County sub system. Intern ones can do that, but this is not like covering your own class. So in case you've heard otherwise, I know I think, oh no, Charlene's also on here too, but intern ones are a slightly different rule about that.
Okay, because I was gonna say that during the meeting they had said I could sub, but then another question.
You're not an intern. You have to wear 2 separate hats.
Okay.
You've got your intern hat on Monday, Tuesday. You can substitute Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay. And you said I have to be in the substitute system?
Yes, you have to be hired by Brevard County as a substitute.
Okay. And then one more question.
Mm-hmm.
If like one of the days they were doing testing and they don't have enough
proctors
to cover the rooms, am I allowed to do that? My supervisor is not going to be there, but like.
Yes, in that situation, let me look back at my notes because that was something that was asked, and yes, you can proctor for FSAs for standardized testing, all of you can. So that's one situation where if they needed you to be in another room to proctor the FSA, you are allowed to do that. That's really the only situation that you're allowed to do anything, that's kind of like on your own. Okay. All right. And Faith, did you have a question?
Yes. I have a really kind of not weird, but weird situation going on. My teacher's the team leader for the other 2 kindergarten teachers, and one teacher's been out with COVID for over a week, so she's basically like having to do all of her sub plans. And then the other teacher, her last day was supposed to be Friday and got pulled into the office today and was told your last day is today at 3:00 when the kids left. So she's now having to do all the lesson plans for both teachers, and they're already hired a new teacher for the one who was leaving. So she was already told that she has to do the lesson plan. That's okay. She was told by her principal, like, I need you to do the lesson plans because you are going to be that teacher's mentor. So I just wanted to check and make sure. I mean, for the unit lesson, I know, or the TWS, I know that's completely different story. We already have that covered and cleared because they do something different anyways. But I just wanted to make sure that because I'm not physically making the lesson plans every other week, that's okay.
That's okay. That's okay. It's more for, when you are lead teaching, when you are doing everything, you can teach her lesson plans. That's fine. It's in some respects, it's kind of like then you would be the long-term sub for those 2 weeks. But a lot of interns want to make things their own. And again, how much you make something your own is between you and your supervising teacher. But the teacher work sample unit, that has to be all you.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
And
and I emailed Dr. Dan about the ESOL profile while we were talking. He said the only thing we need is that profile sheet.
Okay, great.
You don't need anything else. So I emailed him just to like get a quick answer to see if he would answer while we were on here.
He's on his toes. That was a quick response. Good. And tell your supervising teacher good luck. And I'm sorry that she's having to deal with all that. That is rough.
Also, it's been an interesting year. She has all of the students with IEPs and behavior plans and all of that. So she has 19 kids at Mila, Miss Brennan. We're down to 17 kids, but all of them are basically IEPs. There's a non-diagnosed autistic child that her mother's in denial and nonverbal and everything going on all at once. So on top of so
well, I'm sure she's glad that you're there to help out in some way, but just don't, make sure that you're learning, you're not just helping. And if it comes to be where you are being asked to do more and you're not getting what you think you need, that's when you need to call me. Okay. All right, Charlene, you've got a question?
Yes, really quick. So clearly I've been talking to you about not being able to intern, and I'm just like a bit frazzled because even though everyone just started last week, so really I only missed 3 days, which is good. Right. I feel like I'm behind even though I don't really know if I'm behind. Because I've already talked with my supervising teacher and we're caught up, and I'm gonna re-email her tomorrow and just tell her, hey, like Monday I can come in, I'm clear to come in, because that would have been the 2 weeks of quarantine. So is there anything I need to this sounds like a very I'm trying to figure out what I want to say. Is there anything I need to bring her for that first day just to be like, hey, here's a check-in, or is it like I just go in, kind of observe for this first week and go from there?
Yep, that's exactly it. Just go in. Okay. And, your first 2 days, you should just really be a sponge, observing as much as you can. You might want to take some notes about the routines, try to get to know the kids, rotate around the room, maybe on day 2, do a read aloud, or do, something little, let the kids get to know you, sort of a thing. Again, you only need to have one observation with me before the end of February. You have plenty.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Plenty of time. That's why I wanted to do this meeting today, because I know it gave my intern ones, only 3 days in the classroom. That's why we all still have so many questions. Intern twos, you've only been in there, what, 6 days, 7 days now? So it's all fresh so that, you know, as things arise, we can kind of calm some of the worries, nip them in the bud if we can, and get you enough time to plan out for those appointments that will need to come. But like I said, you have until March 5th to get one observation and a midpoint evaluation. That's over a month. So even though you are there only 2 days a week, you're going to try to make up those 3 days at some point. But still, you will have time. And especially for my intern ones, please realize that when I observe a lesson, like I said, it can be a small group activity where your supervising teacher has, you know, a larger group and you're pulling an intervention group. It could be if you're doing centers, you're teaching, you know, a review math skill, or you're doing the guided reading, you know, that will be rotated. It does not have to be a whole group lesson for anyone, but especially for my intern ones. Don't feel like you need to be like thrown into the deep end. And all
Okay,
of the
cool.
supervising teachers, I would guess that most of them, you are not the first intern they've had. And even if you are, they have gone through the training. So they should, you know, they know, or they were told, hopefully they remember, you know, what their role is. And again, all of the explanations and stuff like that can be found in the student teaching handbook. So if you wanted to like kind of go over that and the expectations with your supervising teacher that first couple days, that would be really good.
Okay, perfect. I will definitely do that. Just hearing everybody talking like tonight, but also in my other classes, I'm just like, my gosh, I feel so out of the loop.
Yeah.
But of course, things we can't plan. So, but okay, cool. Thank you.
And I mean, here we're in the third semester of dealing with COVID stuff, and every 3 days things change, and you know, this pops up, so we have to, you know, reinvent the wheel about something. And you know, so we are here to work with you guys, and don't worry. I know a couple people had said, you know, concerns that they had about the internship, that they won't be able to finish it because if they get sick or whatever. We will work with you. We have yet to, even the first semester when school closed in March and my interns didn't get to finish out the semester, we still got all of them done with their internship and graduated. So if we could do that, we can do anything.
I just had another question that popped up. So you were talking about how we can use one of our observations for small groups.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that makes it a little bit easier for me because I've been pulling a lot of small groups while the sub is doing stuff with the kids. So I've been kind of doing a little bit of stuff on the side with a couple kids at a time. So I was wondering if I can try to maybe squeeze that in the next week or so, just so that I can start getting things going.
Yeah, like have me zoom in or come in or record that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I was going to try to record it.
Yeah, that works. That's perfect. Yeah, especially those of you teaching in the lower grades, so much teaching is done in small group that it would be unnatural for the students to sit through a whole group lesson. And there's no reason. I mean, good teaching happens in small group as much as it happens in large group. You still have management, you know, to do and things like that. So I can see everything that I need to see in a 15-minute, you know, guided reading at a group of 4 kids that, you know, that I could see in a whole group math lesson.
So as far as just to chime in on that, because my teacher's table is in the corner, and the form that we have for recording specifically says it has to be the back of the room. So can we can make an adjustment to that?
The back of their heads, you know, think about it. You know what I mean? Like just basically what they mean is the camera's pointing at you, not at the kids. That's really all they mean by that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, one thing though I will say about recording lessons. Sometimes the files get very big and they're hard to email out. If this happens to you, set up a YouTube channel real quickly, an account, upload it to YouTube, and then send me the link. Sometimes that works better. Google Movies, Google, I don't know, whatever it is through Google seems to work better than like the Microsoft version of it. But if in doubt, upload to YouTube and then send me the link to that. Just make it private, so obviously, other people can't find it. But that will work, especially if it's a longer lesson.
So I have a dilemma about the whole small group situation.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm teaching kindergarten, but my principal is not allowing small groups to be pulled. We're only allowed to do whole group instruction, and then like me and the teacher will kind of just roll around and work with one student at a time who needs that intervention and that help. And a lot of their stuff is done from like a dot cam being projected onto the screen. So is that okay when I'm doing my lesson? I just wanted to make sure, because that's the format and that's all that.
So in that situation, then, kind of point the camera at the dot screen, at wherever they're looking at the whiteboard, whatever it is. I'll hear you, even if I don't see you on screen, I'll see you walk by or, whatever. And as long as I can hear you, that's fine.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because like you can see what they're doing, and like each kid has their own manipulatives.
Yeah.
I have a set.
Yeah,
so I just wanted to.
I had one of my intern twos do that last semester, where she just, I was in the back corner of the room and I could see like the backs of the kids' heads and I could see her whiteboard. I couldn't really see what was on it just from that angle, but I could see she was, projecting something. And then I would see her kind of walking around and, occasionally she'd help someone right next to the camera. But as long as I can hear it, that's all that, I really need to do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Angie, did you have a question?
I was just saying, like, what did I want to ask? But I do have one question about the lesson plan.
Okay.
My teacher does her lesson plan planning on Fridays, and I'm not really sure when our 1 week, like when we spend a week there, schedule is. So where do I find our schedule for when I go for the week? And then also, do you want me to do one of the lessons she's already planned, or do you want me to plan something myself different from the lesson?
That's up to you. If you want to just teach a lesson that she has planned and you implement it, that's okay. If she says, hey, why don't, she thinks you're really taken off and says, hey, why don't you, do this read aloud and come up with something to go along with it, that's between the two of you, how you feel comfortable. In this packet of information that I sent to you, like with the information and the dates, it does say your full week of internship is February 22nd to the 26th. But before you get to that point, even if she, sits down and does all the planning on Fridays and you're not there, have a conference, a meeting with her, and just kind of, even though it's not a Friday, just have her walk through the steps of what she does. You'll see that then, but I would rather you not wait until then to see how it all, magically appears. And also, I'd rather you see it more than once. And sometimes, even if that means, you might have to get together on the weekends with your supervising teacher, or you come back on a Friday, even though it's not your scheduled day, but maybe if you don't have a class that you could come in, you might have to be flexible like that. Okay. All right.
I have one more question. Is there a time frame of when we're supposed to be taking over and how long and all that?
I thought I sent that out too, and it's super rough, like weeks 1 to 2.
I somehow didn't get that, I don't think.
Okay.
Is it any way to have it on web courses for our internship too, that as a document?
I don't control web courses, so I can't add that, but
Rebecca,
I can send it to you.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, because I could.
And Jordan, it looks like, because I don't know what happened.
I don't think we received it. It was only our supervising teachers that received the schedule.
send it to you guys?
Because
Okay.
I didn't know about
it
it until yesterday.
Okay.
I got it like a
I
couple
got
weeks.
it.
All right, hang on a minute. I will pull it up right now, and then I will email it to you guys.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so can you see it now?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, look at that.
So, and again, this is very loose, okay?
Right, because my teacher, since I've been there before, she's like, all right, hey, you want to do math for the next month? I'm like,
Right. You're probably in week 4 if you were already in that classroom last semester. You know what I mean? So it's what you feel comfortable doing. And, you know, before I did this role, I was a supervising teacher for a few years. And each intern is different. You know, I've had an intern who came in, you know, ready to go. I mean, she was a mom, she had substitute taught, you know, she knew what teaching was all about. She was raring to go to jump in and start teaching lessons like on day 4, you know. I've had other interns who have had very limited experience really teaching with kids, like their first placement was more of an observational type situation, or they were really nervous. And so, you know, you got to feel out what you feel comfortable with and what your supervising teacher feels comfortable with. Some of them are more reluctant to give up control as well. So sometimes that's an issue we have to work with sometimes.
I feel like my teacher's willing to say she'll give up control, but then as I'm up there doing it, we'll change things and I'm getting really flustered. And then she'll leave the room real quick to go run, you know, make a copy or do something. And it's kind of.
Well, in that case, sometimes maybe, you know, it's okay as an intern too to be left in the classroom for short periods of time.
Yeah. I mean, she's only gone for like 10 minutes at the most, but it kind of.
Stay out for half an hour.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Maybe say, hey, listen, I just want to do this on my own this time. Like, let me go from the start of math to the end of math on my own. And just ask her. I mean, you've been there long enough where she should feel comfortable with you doing
She
that.
handed me all of the module 4 math in a stack and said, here, you want it? Go for it. I'm like, okay. Like, so.
Again, you know, it's what you feel comfortable with.
Okay.
So, you know, this is a very loose guide. Week 1, you know, just becoming familiar with everything. A lot of you are in the same classroom you were in last semester, so skip this. You've done this, you know. Week 2, you're going to start grading. You're going to start doing attendance. You know, maybe walking kids to and from activities, things like that. Teaching a half day, taking over, you know, with the younger kids, like your calendar time. That's usually an easy thing to start with. Or math. I think math is an easier one to take over just because it's so prescribed, but I know Eureka math can be difficult. So you have to talk to your supervising teacher. What's the easiest thing? Is it just like, I don't even know, do they even do spelling words anymore at the schools? Whatever it is, start small. And then once you get like, okay, I know how to do calendar time. Now I'm ready to do social studies. And then build onto that. So by week 3, you're going to start doing next week. You know, if you haven't yet taken over one thing, like if it's circle time, if it's math, if it's social studies, whatever, try to take that over, you know, start taking that over tomorrow and Friday.
Yeah.
And then take on one more thing, you know, so that you gradually get up to a half day and all of a sudden you are in charge after lunch. From lunch till dismissal, I used to always tell my students, I'm invisible. Miss so-and-so is in charge. I'm a ghost. You don't see me. You don't hear me. You know, I'm just going to do this in the back of the classroom. Or I would be pulling small groups or something like that. But I would always say, you know what? She's in charge now. Go ask her that question. And let that intern be in charge for half a day. Then when you feel comfortable with half a day, that's when you start full time. And that is when your supervising teacher really should kind of become invisible as much as physically possible. Treat them like, you know, like they are a parent helper in the classroom, but really no more. You should be doing all of the student work grading. You should be doing all of the planning. Now, maybe, again, even a full-time teacher isn't creating every lesson, right? We have curriculum that we're using, but you should be the one taking that curriculum and going, okay, this is what I'm doing Tuesday, this is what I'm doing Wednesday with the lesson and the curriculum that you have. You should be walking the kids to and from lunch, recess, and specials.
Yeah, I've already been doing.
You know, you should be answering the phone when the phone rings. That's you. Pretend that other person isn't there, because next year when you're teaching full-time, they're not going to be there. So you use that time to try to do it all and know that there is someone there to catch you if you fall. But, you know, if you're not falling, you don't need them. You know what I mean? So try to not let them be too involved. And that is sometimes hard for a lot of supervising teachers. And that's when sometimes I say, hey, listen, why don't you go sort papers in the teacher's lounge for an hour and come back and check on me? And sometimes we encourage them to do that if they are too control freak. We're teachers, we are control freaks. That's going to happen. That's part of our nature. But as a supervising teacher, you are taking an intern knowing that you are going to have to give up some of that control. And sometimes they just need to be reminded that that's what they agreed to. And I can, you know, I can talk with them about it if it becomes a problem. So weeks 4 to 11, you should be, you know, I mean, that's a big chunk of time. Minimally 2 weeks full-time, minimally. But if you're getting it, you're going to want to teach more. It's way more fun to teach than to watch somebody else teach. Way more fun. You know, so you can, you know, play it by ear. And then weeks 12 and 13, you're going to do the opposite. Start scaling back. If, you know, if you were teaching all day, maybe just teach the afternoon and then let your supervising teacher take reading and language arts back over, or, you know, math or whatever. And then slowly kind of release your responsibilities back to the supervising teacher. And then the last week, I really, really encourage you guys to do this. Go observe in other classrooms, especially if you have been with the same supervising teacher both semesters. Go see what other people do. Every teacher is different. Every teacher, you're going to love something that you see that this teacher does, you love something that that teacher does, and then you're going to make it your own. But you have to be able to see what other teachers are doing. Take your phone with you, snap pictures of cool bulletin boards. If the other teachers don't mind you snapping a picture of their plan book or, you know, their plan book on the computer, whatever it is, this is your time to collect as many ideas as you possibly can, and to see if you're in a second grade classroom this entire year, internship 1 and internship 2, how do you know you might not love teaching 5th grade if you've never been in a 5th grade classroom? And guess what? That might be the grade you got hired for next year. So having that experience working with kids at different ages, working with different types of teachers, talk to your supervising teacher and be like, so is there somebody in the building who does things differently than you? Because trust me, there are, and that would be a good person to see. And that sometimes you're gonna be like, whoa, that is not what I wanna be. And that's a learning experience too, to say, that is not the kind of teacher I wanna be, or that's not how I would do that. You gotta be a sponge at the beginning of your internship and then at the end when you're, you know, visiting other classrooms. Katie, question?
This is my last one.
Hey, this is what we're here for.
So the mandatory job fair thing is March 26th. Or March something.
Oh, yep, and I have the wrong date. I still have it from November on there. I'm sorry. I have it up at the top. Yes, March 26th.
Can you just like elaborate on what that is? Like, is it literally like us interviewing for jobs?
Yep, it literally is. It's I don't know if it's at the gym. It's somewhere on main campus. And yeah, I mean, we've all done it. You will bring some copies of your resume and talk to school districts. There will be school districts from in and out of state. You might get offered a job on the spot. You don't have to take it, but it's, if nothing else, it's great interviewing experience. It's great to see and to be able to compare. You live in Brevard County now, but Orange County is not that far. Volusia County is not that far. Maybe their pay scale is better. You know what I mean? Maybe, maybe you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend who lives and you think that you're going to go move or whatever. Explore it. Maybe you are like, I'm done with Florida. I need to go see the mountains. I want to apply for a job in Colorado. That's your chance to do that. And there will be a lot of districts and a lot of people that are going to want to hire people on the spot. I caution you taking jobs that want to hire you right on the spot because, no offense to you, but they're desperate and you don't know what kind of situation you're getting in. And the best thing that I can say about the position you guys are in, it is a teacher's market right now for jobs. There are tons of available jobs. You have the luxury of being able to do find the one that works for you. When I got hired so many years ago, we're not even talk about how long ago I was in your position, there was not a teacher shortage. There were so many teachers. I mean, most people, I got lucky in that I got a job my first year out of school. Most people I know subbed for 2, 3, 5 years before they got a full-time job. So any job that someone was going to give me, I was grabbing for. I didn't care what school district, what age, whatever. A job was a job. Now the market is completely different. Don't take a job at Manatee if you don't want to live in Vieira and you have a 40-minute commute. Don't take a job in Palm Bay if you live in Titusville. You don't have to. You don't have to. Also, don't take a job at Manatee if you really like working with Title I students. But also don't take a job at a Title I school if you don't want to, do Title I work. So figure out, this is your opportunity to figure out what works for you because every teacher is different and every school is different, every grade is different. And you need to figure out, what your comfort zone is.
I just have 2 follow-up questions. They said it in the chat.
The last one.
But don't do that. So this is on campus because we were kind of under the impression that it was online.
Dr. Dan said it was a virtual.
It might be virtual. Okay, that's what it used to be. Well, still, yes, you're right. Last semester they did it virtually and you had to make appointments. Okay, so what I described is what happens in a normal world, in a non-COVID world. But yes, I do remember last semester you were required, I think they required you to make appointments ahead of time with certain school districts, and you had to at least do maybe 3 interviews. So again, you could still be offered a job. You don't have to take it. Same thing with the school that you're working at. They may offer you what's called a binder before you're even done interning. Don't sign it and accept it if that's not the school you want to work in. Okay, there's many schools out there. Sometimes it's great to get a full-time job in the school that you've interned at because you kind of know things and you feel like it's going to be an easier start. Other times it's not so great if everybody's always going to look at you and go, oh, well, she's the intern. You know what I mean? We knew her before and not kind of take you as seriously maybe. So you have to feel that out too and see what the climate of the school is, what the, what the teachers are like too. Is it a lot of negativity that's going around that school? Do you want that? Or are teachers really positive, really supporting of each other? Things like that go into the job too.
Do we need an actual portfolio when we meet with people? Because all we have really is VIA. And is that okay?
It's been 20 some years since I've interviewed for a teaching job. I had my little scrapbook style portfolio, this is practically pre-computer, So I don't know what they're looking for anymore, but during your capstone, they will, Dr. Dan will kind of go over things like that, and there will be tips of like what to bring. Like obviously you want to bring a resume. I do know just from sitting on interview committees, hiring new teachers, a lot of times people will bring a CD, with like some highlights or whatever. But to be honest, it's not really that necessary, because when you interview, usually what happens is you're going to just have a informal chatting interview. If they like you, they'll call you back, and you might have to teach a lesson, like model teaching a lesson. And sometimes that is terrifying if the interview committee is a bunch of adults and they're like, pretend that we're second graders and teach us a guided reading lesson. That happens often, So other times they will just say, maybe send us a video of your student teaching. So it's always good to have a recorded observation, just because you can always send it in later. But yeah, quite often, almost every interview committee I've been on, we've asked the teacher candidate to teach a lesson. I've had to do it many times when I was interviewing for jobs too. So that's
like on the spot.
What's that?
Just like on the spot, like teach the lesson, and then you just have to like.
They'll call you back. Like you'll have like your first like an interview like this, and then they'll say, okay, Tuesday at 2:00.
Okay, I was like, what?
No, not on the spot. God no.
Okay.
No. Bring, like, I did a brown bear, what do you see guided reading lesson for the first job that I ever interviewed for. And I made little manipulative little hand puppets so we could do readers theater with them. And I brought all this in and pretended that, the principal and the assistant principal and the staff members were kindergartners. And, I had my little felt board so that they could come and put them on in order. Yeah. And it feels so goofy, but that's what they want to see. Sometimes they will actually have you do it in a class too, which is sometimes better, sometimes not. So, I don't know what these virtual interviews are going to be like. They're not going to be like teaching a lesson at this job fair. That would be like the meet and greet. And like I said, they might say, hey, your resume looks good. I have a desperate need for a teacher. You can fit here. But they might also say, thanks, we'll see what happens, and you might get a call over the summer. Yeah, Jen.
So I just want to make sure I got this right. For the because I sent out those forms that you sent us to go home to parents, and I've got all but 4 back, but those students could be avoided, especially with moving the camera. So one of them you want to be there, but we have to check with the AP. Is that right? Or the principal?
Just check with your supervising teacher. It's loosening, I think, a little bit, but like, for example, Vieira High School, where my son goes, no visitor is allowed past the front office for any reason. Like a substitute is okay, nobody else. So I would not be able to go do an observation physically at that campus. So that's why I'm saying, if possible, I would love to be able to see one.
So I'm asking.
Yeah, because I don't want to show up and then be like, no, you can't come in.
I asked the principal at Quest, my supervising teacher did, and she said it wasn't a problem.
Okay.
Only because it's part of our program, so they don't mind.
Right, and I was able to do it at one school last semester, but not at another, and so that's why I'm just saying, just double check. If they're allowing you to be there, they should be allowing me to be there, because we are part of the same program. That's true.
Okay, I just wasn't sure what to do, what the proper way was to go. I have one more question, and this should be it. Is Katie did good today? Go, Katie. Was we have to have the 3 with you recorded, but our ST ones don't need to be recorded. Is that right?
No, because she's seeing you.
Okay.
It's only recorded just because I'm not physically there.
That makes sense. I wasn't sure. That makes it so much easier. Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't.
So do those lesson plans that our ST is watching, that lesson has to be uploaded via 24 hours ahead of time also? It can't just be a spur of the moment, I'm going to watch you right now, I got time kind of thing.
Well, I mean, you have to have a lesson plan.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, that one has to be the full.
The 24 hours is more flexible with your supervising teacher than with me.
Okay.
But because in VIA, until you upload that, she can't access the rubric.
So for those that are just for her, can it just be in whatever form she's using, or do I need to use the full?
I'm fine. Yeah, I think it's fine to just use whatever form she's using.
Because she's just typing things in a plan book. So
yeah, that would be fine.
I have a question.
She might want you, and this is between you and her. She may want you to do procedure, step by step. What are you going to do? She may ask you to include more than that, but that's between you and her.
Thank you.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
So I'm teaching a lesson on Tuesday, and I was wondering, how am I supposed to upload my lesson plans to VIA if VIA is not available till the 1st? So
for your supervising teacher, right?
No, for you.
Oh, you already, okay, you signed up for one?
Yes.
Okay, then, you know what, if it's not up, just email it to me.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And then I'll have a paper version too.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I had a question.
Yeah.
So backtracking to like the timeline of when we're taking over and how you said basically pretend like the teacher's a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
With the situation that I'm in with, we have so many behavior plans and IEPs in place.
Yeah.
Is it still okay that she's in there managing those we have a couple of kids who are like violent?
Yeah.
It can be violent.
We want safety first. So yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like that wasn't okay.
Especially, I mean, kindergarten is like trying to keep cats in a bag. So
we had a kid throw a chair today at us. So I was like, oh, okay, cool.
I had that happen myself.
Not the first time that it's happened to me. I had a 3rd grader do it like 2 years ago when I was doing service hours. So
I had a child purposely pee her pants the other day.
I love that.
In 3rd grade.
Yeah.
I've seen a behavior plan at the district level now.
So I just wanted to check, and then also just to make sure that I have it correct written down, because I'm like going to talk to my ST tomorrow about everything.
Mm-hmm.
So our supervising teacher observations, we can upload onto VIA the lesson plan style that she writes it in.
Mm-hmm.
The only ones that have to be the official UCF fancy 800 page one is the only ones for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to triple check.
But like I told Rebecca, your supervising teacher may want to see a little bit more. What, higher order thinking questions you're going to ask, what accommodations, like that's one thing that is missing, I think, from that newer form that I sent. For me, I also like to see what accommodations you have for, even if you're not necessarily going to need them, but that you've thought about like what ESE accommodations or what extensions or what ESOL modifications there could be. So, as you think about that, as you're writing out the long form plans, I'd like to see that too. That's something that, I might ask you for if you don't have it in there already.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, we've been here almost 2 hours. I hope that we've got, most of our questions answered. I am always here. You can email me, text me, call me, whatever. Try to, make some Sign Up Genius appointments there, and then I will check them tomorrow and see, where we go. And I'll confirm with you that they work for me. So be looking out for a text or an email for me to confirm that. And then, we'll probably do this again, whole group, in a couple weeks if we need to. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Garnett,
Yeah, John.
Bye.
can I talk to you privately after everybody leaves to talk about the ELL thing?
Yep, sure. We'll hang on.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. All right. It's just
All right.
us.
Okay. Well, that was quick. So yeah, like I said, I found out that yesterday that I only have one or no ELL students at all in the whole entire campus.
Okay.
Uh,
So,
my wife is a teacher, and she has plenty of teacher friends. She used to teach at Cambridge. She
oh,
actually exited not too long ago, about a year ago or 2 years now, from Brevard UCF.
okay.
So she used to teach at Cambridge, and she has, like I said, a few teacher friends there that might have ELL students there.
That would be great. If you know someone where you could go in and do your hours, and like I said, it might have to be, I might have to just reach out to Dr. Williams to see how the timing will work with that, because you are, you're at Challenger, which is Port St. John, which is not exactly around the corner from Cambridge.
No, but I live right around the corner from Cambridge.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, like, to get from one to the other.
Oh, right. Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And that we also don't want you leaving your current placement that much.
No, what I was thinking was like maybe like my final 2 weeks of internship, maybe go and do that and intern there.
That was what I was going to just run by her, but she would need to, Dr. Williams would need to sign off on that. But I do think that could potentially work. Probably would be the best situation for you, because you could do a lot of it through Teach Live, but that is so awkward. You know what I mean? It's like with avatar children, and we had to do that for a lot of interns last year when the COVID shutdown happened. And it was just, I don't know, it's just kind of awkward. So if you know people, teachers who would be willing to have you, then I think that's the best plan. And I will, we can talk to Dr. Williams about it, and I'm sure she'd be fine for you to do it the last 2 weeks.
Okay, so then it would be me talking to the teacher and the teacher talking to their administration and seeing if that's okay, because like you were talking about, some places aren't allowing quote unquote volunteers.
Right. Well, Dr. Williams has a lot of connections at Cambridge. So if you could ask your wife for names of teachers there who would be willing to have you for those 2 weeks, and get those to me, and then let me talk to Dr. Williams, and she can iron out all the details. As long as, if you can find someone who has already said, yeah, fine, come on in.
Okay. And would it be wise if I were to get around the same grade level? Like right now I'm teaching 6th grade. I plan on doing 4th through 6th anyway.
Okay.
So it would probably be ideal for me to find a 4th through 6th then.
That's your comfort zone.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. If your wife's best friend teaches 1st grade and is willing to have you, go for it. Whatever works for you. It doesn't have to be the same grade.
All right. That's what I was thinking anyway. And yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great plan. That makes it a lot easier than me trying to, go find someone for you if you already know someone who you could work that with.
So then my question now becomes this: do you know much of anything about the TWS, or am I going to have to go to Dr. Dan with that?
I know a lot about it, but not everything.
Okay, so he said that we have to have a WIDA. So if I don't have any students that are in the classroom or that I'm observing or any of that information, should I not include that and skip that part and just tell him about the demographics of the area, what I'm teaching, the students and all that?
Okay, that one I would ask him. Because he's the one grading it. So I don't want to tell you one thing and then when he goes to grade your TWS, say, well, where is it? You know what I mean? I would run that by him.
Okay, all right, I'll do that then.
Okay.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, so just let me know when when you find the name of a teacher who you could go into, and then I'll work it out with Dr. Williams and we'll get the permissions.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. All right, take care. Have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.